If you become 18 years old in Iran, you have to serve. So we left Iran 8 days before.
Where when you work hard, you take risks, then you become lucky.
I don't wake up to be rich. I don't wake up to be alone. I don't wake up to this. I want to make sure that I leave impacting people's life.
What made you go from Iran to Canada?
How can you process 70,000 applications in a month with 200 people? India has over 250 million people in college. You can't just ignore India. You think like people wanted to put their houses on Airbnb? Not many people actually would get visa to Canada for undergrad. I think the next 2 decades is India decade.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Living Pod by Saurabh. Again, I got one of the movers and shakers of the industry, which is called global mobility, education, higher education. On that note, let me introduce Meti Basiri. Meti, how are you doing, bro?
Grow has everything. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you so much for doing it for us. How many hours you were sleeping?
No, actually, finally, after 7 days, I got the goodest sleep last night. So I'm good. I got my 6 hours. I'm happy. So.
And where you get this energy? Because I've been always seeing you very energetic. Are you making it up? You put efforts for this, or it's come natural?
No, I think maybe God blessed me with enough of energy. No, I don't. What you see is who I am as a person. So I actually cannot fake who I am. It's very hard for me to fake. If I'm happy, you see I'm happy. If I'm upset, I'm upset. Like what you see is what you get.
You mentioned who are you? Who are you?
Meti Basiri.
And what does Meti Basiri does? Of course, everyone knows, but
so I give you a little bit of background because I think who I am today is a result of my journey and the company that I started with my brothers. So about 15 years ago, I'm originally from Iran. About 15 years ago, we decided that we want to leave Iran and go to Canada and study in Canada as an international student. Took us quite some time, couldn't speak a word of English, and it was very hard for us to figure out the entire process as a whole. And when we made it to Canada, this concept of like the student mobility was always a question, and it was always a challenge that like we really got lucky. I think like for us, it's God put every piece of the puzzle right beside each other. Then at the end, the puzzle was finished. So we just wanted to make sure other people don't need the luck on their side to have access to that quality of education. And then right after we finished this school, we just decided to start ApplyBoard. And the entire ApplyBoard concept is any students from anywhere in the world would be able to go to ApplyBoard platform and they can choose the schools of their choice, but more importantly, get matched to that institution based on their future success and based on their current criteria. So as a result of that, almost 96% of our students, when they apply to any institution on ApplyBoard platform, they get acceptance to that institution and of course go through. This year is our 10-year anniversary and we've been blessed that we managed to help over 1.3 million students in the past 10 years. Yeah, so that's really ApplyBoard, like where our entire focus is how we can make education far more accessible and people around the world can go from one point to the other point and don't need luck on their side.
You've been, disruptor for studying abroad, global mobility. We've been creating this category called student housing. And in that, one of the reasons I've been doing podcasts is how can I create awareness to why Canada?
So Martin, my brother, was going there sooner. So we knew kind of he's going to be there. My sister, 2 years prior, applied for permanent residency in Canada. So her file wasn't approved. So we knew that she will be there. We knew Martin's going to be there. So it was kind of like a location of choice in a sense. And I think like many other students, you tend to choose if you have a family friend and Canada to be, and I think I'm proud with that decision. Canada is an incredible country and has offered me nothing but greatness. So I'm grateful for that. And I think I made an incredibly wise decision to go to Canada and no other place in planet Earth.
Is that the right way to go about? While I was coming, I was just talking to one of my family friends and she's asking whether I should go to UK, US, or Canada or Australia. Either a student can decide basis course, college, or probably country. You were saying a student generally decide as per they have family friends.
Not necessarily. I think for us that was the decision, like part of our decision, because we grew up in a very close family. So family is very important to us, and we were always very connected. So we just didn't want it to go in a place that will be scattered and every one of us to live separately. So we knew that's gonna maybe take few years, but that was the intention, to just be around each other. And in the response of like, I think any students could choose. I think you could go to UK and be successful. You could go to US and be successful. It's different, right? Some people want to maybe be closer to home. I have chatted with so many students, for example, from Southeast Asia. They go to Australia because it's closer to home.
Right.
So many students from India, as example, go to UK because it's 8 hours flight.
Yeah.
I have literally had conversation with parents that they're like, I don't want to send my kid to Canada and US. That's like 16, 17 hours flight.
Right.
So it's just different. Distance play factor, institution play factor, what you want to do post your graduation play factor. I think the best part of the world is the student mobility becoming far more accessible. So less than 3% of the students today have access to study abroad opportunity.
Right.
So, and 3% is nothing. When you really think about it, think of it, out of 100 students globally, less than 3 get to actually try.
Yeah.
With even a short term, I'm including that even that someone that might go abroad for 3 weeks.
Exchange programs,
right? So much opportunity, and the global opportunity is increasing. So it's just in the next decade or so, opportunity is just gonna continue.
So you're saying gonna continue, that people gonna go abroad, it's gonna happen, it's gonna grow, because there are questions that with AI coming in, with YouTube around, I had the question why people want to even get their education, why people leave about going abroad, and we're in the business of going abroad. So that's why any of my family friends reach out to me, I'm like, why you need to go abroad?
I don't know. I think there is a question what education does. I truly believe education unlocks people's potential. Like I my life changed. I learned a lot. And I think, will our education system change over the next few years? Definitely it will, as it has evolved, right? Like you used to read things off of notebooks and books. Now you read it off of iPads. You used to take notes on a piece of paper. Now you just put your phone and record it. So education has evolved, but the purpose of education has remained the same. You don't just go to a school to learn a field. You know what was my biggest absolute takeaway from a school, and when I went to college in Canada, was discipline. I learned to be disciplined. I learned teamwork. I grew up in Iran. In Iran, until high school, you really don't do much of teamwork. So my takeaway, I studied business marketing. My takeaway wasn't as much as business or marketing. My takeaway was like how to be a better person, how to be disciplined. And I think there are a lot of those soft skills that you get to learn from a school. That's why I still think that. And when it comes to study abroad opportunity, life is like a backpack. You tend to go through the life as part of your journey. You carry experience. I met you last week in San Diego. That was an experience that we carried in our backpack. And you get to choose what sort of experience you want to carry on. Because this is a backpack. You will use it at some point. Studying in your hometown brings you a different skills that you're going to carry forward. Studying abroad, when you're 18 years old or 23 years old, the moment you're thinking that I'm going to pack my bag in two bag and migrate, no mama's help, no papa's support, you're just making yourself uncomfortable, and that giving you a new soft skill and hard skill that you may not have. And a study abroad, I think, is going to be far more experience-led rather than education. Like, who wouldn't want to go study in Spain, live there 6 months, gain a new culture, and come back? I'll give you a fun fact. 40% of students that go abroad come back in their home countries and start business within 5 years.
Right. I mean, we are an example of that.
21% of Canada's right now entrepreneurs are started immigrants. So you really look at it, there is just so much as a person, you become a different person. So I think a study abroad is going to continue growing because the value of a study abroad is more than before. The ROI is better and more clear than before. So,
Agree. And with the companies like ApplyBoard, company like University Living, we are making things easier. I remember I went to my exchange program back in 2011. I went to one of our counselor. He helped me with the admission exchange program, but I didn't ask. They didn't tell. I didn't book my accommodation. I landed there without accommodation. That's how I got into this, right? So tell me more about ApplyBoard. Where does that name comes in? ApplyBoard. Is there any story or it just random happened?
there's always a story. If any founder said there's no story. So prior to ApplyBoard, I ran a marketing company for a year.
Okay.
In an old
This
good
was in
2014. In the old good times, now word has changed. The ranking of the domain mattered so much. The name of the domain matters so much. So you used to buy a domain that was aged domain.
Yeah.
So we were randomly looking, and then we were just playing with the word. So as a marketing company, I learned a lot. What you should do, what you shouldn't do. So, and I had accounts with GoDaddy, which was like a kind of like account for marketers. Yeah. So I just called them up. I say, hey, I'm looking for a name that has something around Apply. It gave me a bunch of options. And we wanted to make sure the name is easy enough for everyone to know. Apply is very easy to mention. Blackboard is a word that you learn in a school in a grade 1. Everyone had Blackboard in their whiteboard or a black.
Yeah.
So the word of board is a common name. And just the person says, hey, we have a company, like if we have a domain name ApplyBoard, is that something that makes sense? And in my mind, I was like, okay, it's a board that you apply to. Yes, I want it. So I think we bought the domain like for $300.
And that back then you were clear that you were building a global company,
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't think like we intended to solve the problem. We never intended to build a company to be global or not. We put the mission over everything. Our mission was like, can we get to a place that any students from anywhere in the world can go anywhere in the world if they desire to? That was always the intention. And I think I'm a lucky person. God has blessed me. We just were right time, right place, and maybe a little bit of hard work.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
I know with founders, what happened, we don't take credit. You say lucky. I say lucky is where when you work hard, you take risks, then you become lucky. Of course, there are lots of other things come together. But
I think like
we as we founder always undertone our efforts and our risks.
No, I think I'm lucky. I still, of course, everything in the word, the input that you put is the output that you get.
Yeah.
You control the inputs in the life, not the outputs. So I'm not going to sit here and says I'm going to sit here and the luck's going to win me a lottery or the luck's going to make this happen. I'm not saying, but I'm still lucky. I could have never been in Canada. I could have never have an opportunity to stay in a wonderful country. Could have never started at ApplyBoard. I could have just say, you know what, I work my head off to get to marketing company. I went from making like no money to 90 grand on the first year, like almost to 100K as a first time. Like I could have said, why am I taking risk? Going back to zero. So there were a lot of luck that the path was created. I do believe in destiny, and I do believe that you just have to make sure you see the light in the signs and you continue go. So I think I'm a lucky person. And of course, anyone that you control your input, the output is a result of your input. So
lucky Meti, what made you go from Iran to Canada? Okay, Martin decided, your sister decided, but then why you and your younger brother also decided to go to Canada or to study abroad? But tell me more about Iran during your time. I've never been to Iran, so my curiosity is to know more Iran from Iranians.
So Iran is a great country. It's always, I said, do not mistaken Iranian or Persian people with its government.
Okay.
Iran is a wonderful country, and I really hope I haven't managed to go back in the past 14 years, and I really hope that one day I manage to go, because it's a wonderful and a beautiful and an incredibly knowledgeable, highly educated people. Yeah. I grew up in a very good time of Iran in a lot of sense. The stability was a lot more. The economic was a lot better. And the past 14 years, Iran has changed. But also, like, growing up in any country, being in it from like your 1 to 18 is very different from like your 20 to 30.
Yeah.
And what resulted us to go? So my dad has studied in the state 57 years ago, so just before the regime change. That time, actually, there were about 50,000 students from Iran going to US before the regime change. It was the number one country studying in US. So my dad went to a state. He came back to Iran. He was very successful in engineering from his career because of that education in US. And then, so he kind of had an idea what a study abroad is. And when the opportunity came, we kind of knew we're not going to be in Iran. So whether we were living 18 years old, whether we were living 23, 24 after our bachelor was finished. So the concept was in our family, and we took the fate, and not actually many 2010, when we decided in 2011, March 14, I left Iran. Not many people actually would get visa to Canada for undergrad. And because there was a military service, if you become 18 years old in Iran and you're male, you have to serve. So we left Iran 9 days before my 18 years old. Become 18 years.
Compulsion to serve.
Else you can't leave the country.
Okay.
Like I have to finish my education, serve, or you get exempt, which we weren't qualified. So we just like took the fate 8 days before, left, gone to Malaysia for 5 months, learned English. We couldn't speak
in Malaysia.
We couldn't speak a word of English, so we stayed there. We got our visa, and then we were very handful of Iranians that were getting their visa for undergrad. That's why I'm sometimes think like fate and the luck is.
My daughter's name is Faith.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. Faith is a beautiful name.
I believe definitely you need to put lots of hard work. You need to be fortunate and smart. But there are something which are beyond your controls, and that's where faith comes in.
Yeah.
That's where luck comes in. Back to your story. So ApplyBoard happened, and so why I was asking, because I studied just back in 2011 and then moved out studying again. And that time I didn't have money. I was kicked off of my last company. And I'm like, and I didn't think that much. I'm like, it should be synonymous to, if someone read university living, they should get to know, okay, this is about accommodation. And I didn't have money at all. 300 grand was even lots of money. I was getting the university living for $10. I didn't have money, so I bought the university living. And that during that time, 2015, 16, there were lots of companies with the Urban Club, the Bombay company. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let's take the university living. And of course, when we raised our first round and all that, then I bought university living. So that's my story about university living. But okay, you got ApplyBoard. Then, what was your story? And it was 2015, 16.
2015, we started ApplyBoard. It was really just, we started said, let's have a website that we can list institution in that website, and the students can come apply to those institutions.
Where this idea comes in and why? Okay, you applied on your own.
We did everything on our own, and it was very hard, right? Like the process was incredibly difficult. You had to send your document that time. You had to ship your document. You had to apply, wait. And we really applied. I applied for a few institutions, and every institution had a different process. So it was a very manual and hard process for each of it. And the concept was, can we make it easier? It didn't have to be that difficult. And study abroad as a whole is a very stressful journey. Can we make it less stressful?
Yeah.
So that's why we really started.
And why, after marketing, why only this idea? Because you were a marketer. So I'm sure you've been working with lots of companies.
Because we faced the problem, right? Like we still were getting family friends messaging us saying, hey, like we want to go to Canada. Can you guys help us? So the need was there. The solution wasn't. We faced the same problem. Can we solve it?
Okay. So cut 2015. You have a website, ApplyBoard. It wasn't very early because this market exists.
Oh, 100%.
There were agents who were sending students manually or, that Asian way. What was that trigger point for you that let's fix it up? Like, okay, you decided on this problem, but how you need to fix it up, where that came from?
Again, like the entire concept You said it very well. Like the problem exists there. And you can still argue, say it like still exists
Yeah.
at a scale.
Right.
Like it's not like if tomorrow you're wake up and says, I'm gonna go study in Italy, how?
It's a task. Yeah. It's a task.
Right? Like
Yeah.
maybe like ApplyBoard has solved that problem today for the 6 major destination that we are in today. But
Which are
Canada, UK, US, Australia, Ireland, and Germany. But like the problem is still in a sense exists. And then we saw the problem. We said we're gonna solve it. We start working with Canadian institution first, and then we start bringing them on board. And then that kind of continued going. And then like, you know what? The best way to know what you have built is a solution to a problem is when people start using it. So then we get the students that start reaching out. They really like the platform. We always said we're gonna be free for students. Now all of a sudden you control your own journey. You don't need to rely on someone else to support you. And then our recruitment partners start reaching out, say, hey, we want to use your platform. And then it became they start moving, and then we start growing our ecosystem, how we would be able to help more students. But the most important thing from the very first day, the problem statement was how did we make it less stressful, much faster, more accessible for students to go from point A to B. That has not changed.
Right.
Now our accessibility is beyond. Now the students come. Can they book their accommodation through ApplyBoard? Can they do their testing? Can they do their finance? Now we're like, okay, for us to make it more accessible, we need to make it more broader and make sure the students get all the support. The goal is, and I think we're gonna get there within the next few years, that you come to ApplyBoard, you do not need to leave ApplyBoard. From the day that you start your journey till the day that you settle in your job, you're going to utilize ApplyBoard.
Right. In my mind, for the longest time, it was ApplyBoard is only for Canada. And also my another question is, most of your students were Indian students. And that puzzled me that Iranian brothers based out of Canada build a company, $1 billion company from India, at least from Indian students. Is that true? Is that myth, or is there more to it?
Always you have to know when you start something, you want to stay focused. And that focusedness is result your future success. And sometimes I actually challenge, I say I've seen a lot of founders that want to do 10 things. Like there are many founders that I know, they just get themselves like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Yeah. We're try actually do less, but go deep. To me, the business is whether you go vertical or you go horizontal. I would like to go vertical.
Right.
We want to be the best at one thing, not best at and good at everything. So that was always that. And the story it actually was the true and the case for the first few years of ApplyBoard, but that changed.
What was that in the first?
The first few years of ApplyBoard, maybe like 60, 70%. 2000, really 17 till 2020. ApplyBoard majority 2019, so the first 3-4 years, our majority of the business was Canada. Majority of our business was Indian students. 2020, 21, 22, the India became much a smaller part of the business. It's still Canada was major part of it. And then 23, 24, we really focus on adding other destination, going hard on other destination. And then that resulted that now we're effectively, if today, less than 50% of the students on ApplyBoard are Indian students, far even maybe less than 40%. And then we have every different destinations that they're different application. But don't forget, there is this understanding that India is almost a fourth of the world.
It's a continent.
Like it's not like, believe it or not, India has over 250 million people in college. It's like, it's not as small. You can't just ignore India. So I think the next 2 decades is India decades. Absolutely. And then next 2 decades after that will be Africa decade. So like it's a little bit of like, it is nothing wrong to go in a country that has
it's smart. You know, like why to scattered everywhere when you have, you know, the macros are intact. You know that it's concentrated.
And India is always a very complex market. You don't have one country.
It's 30 countries.
Exactly.
It's not less than EU.
Yeah. You have a different culture, different mindset, different everything. So, but did that really change? I don't know. It worked out. And now we're multi-destination, multi-countries. Last year, we had students from 150 some countries to start their classes. So just crazy, huge numbers.
Totally agree with you, because in our case, it was very different. So R was Indian to UK, then it became India to Australia, then it became India to Ireland, and then India became South Asia, and then South Asia became Southeast Asia, and then in pandemic, something really crazy happened. The local student was using our platform. Someone from UK, from Cardiff going to London, they were using our platform. And in pandemic, Australia was totally shut. Because for us, UK was number one, Australia, Ireland. I'm very clear I want to go deep into housing, and due to which probably we have created our mark. Otherwise, and it's very tempting in this market to get into admission, to loans and whatnot.
Do everything, yeah.
Yeah. How did India happen to you? Like, have you there must be some
You want to know the story?
real story, real. You
So
want to
this is
keep it unscripted.
This is 2017. So 17 January, February. There's this woman named Chitra. We're using her as our immigration consultant. Like she was the one that support our students with their visa. And then I was talking to her, like referring the students to help them with the immigration and stuff, like for visas and so on. And then she said like, hey, I have some Indian students that can I apply to your platform? Like, wait a second, our platform is not for you. It's like you can tell your students to go apply. And it's just like, no, like I'll give you the students, you give me half of what you make. Yeah. And I said, okay. Like we were struggling even get some students. I'm like, okay, I went to my engineering. This is Thursday. On next Wednesday, we had a login password for her. So she started applying, handful. And then she was only putting Indiana students in. Then 2017, we were going to hire someone as a salesperson to talk to a student. I hired this person named Akshay that used to be representative of an Ontario college when he was here, but then he went to Canada to study himself back 2000, maybe 16 or whatever, I don't remember. So I was like, great, this guy has a good knowledge of India and he knows the market well. So we hired him. He was our second or first salesperson, I forgot. And he's still with ApplyBoard. Akshay. Then 2017, in October or September, I came to India for 40 days. I did 12 cities. I went from city by city and then talked to as many as partners that I could. 2018, we started getting students from India.
Then, there's more to India. India is very complex. Tell me things which you thought it will happen this way, but didn't happen, and you never thought, and it happened like before you, there were lots of other platforms. In fact, 15, 16, there were few Indian platforms.
There was never a platform. Actually, this is where there was not a single tech when ApplyBoard started. There were players that were doing everything off of email.
B2B and all that, but they were not tech.
There was zero tech. There was actually until 6 years ago, many bigger players that have been around for 20, 25 years, they didn't have a platform.
Even CRM mostly.
Not some cases, it was just Excel file. A lot of businesses in this country is still running, in a sense, an Excel file.
Now on WhatsApp.
Now on a WhatsApp. So the concept...
But there were a couple of platforms, I won't name them, but I have a couple of people working from there, and they've been telling that they've been using CRMs and all, and they've been really well. Probably they were not like as
maybe I give you an example that gives that, and I don't want to necessarily take a credit for that. That's not my intention. Like I'm not saying ApplyBoard was the one. We actually didn't do anything special. We just brought tech to the sector that had no tech, and we made it so easy. We spent millions of dollars, and I'm proud to say we have the most complex problem, which is like for one student to go to another institution is over billions of combination. I'm proud to say we solved a very complex problem with an incredible tech, and we still have the best possible tech out there. It's different to call yourself tech and have a nice UI. UI is not tech.
Yeah. It's a backend and it's a
the
data.
backend. Like, how can you process 50, 60, 70,000 applications in a month with 200 people? That's the tech. How can you make like $200, $300, $400,000? Like what that would be in Indian? It's like
how much? $500.
But $500,000.
It's almost now 4 crores.
Let's say, how can you make 2 or 3 crores per head count? Like, how can you run the company? That's
100K, 100K, 150K.
So,
Yeah.
Like, that is like the tech, and we brought the tech and we empowered and enabled people through the tech. And then of course, like a lot of people, and it's still till today, I respect anyone that is there to support the students, whether you're sent 5 students and you support 5 students, or you are a company that does 50,000 students. I respect them from bottom of my heart because they're changing life. They're making education more accessible, which is why we are where we are.
Right.
So they're helping our mission.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem.
For us, it's solving the problem matters. If we have managed to inspire 1% to go says, I'm going to do the same thing or I'm going to do different thing with my own, I call it success.
Yeah.
Because more student has access today that they had before.
Right. And the more people experience this study abroad journey, there will be more champions for doing study abroad. So I always say that, and that's why, my approach is always to create an ecosystem. Let's increase the pie. Rather than keep eating the pie by doing the same thing, let's increase the pie.
Yeah.
Right? So you talk about tech. Tell me more about tech, because everyone claim we are tech first, we are AI first, we are, like we have raised lots of funds and we are disrupting. And at time I see, I'm like, really? CRM is not tech. Having some
I think here's the thing.
automation is not just tech.
I have seen a lot of companies that they call themselves tech. They're a smart tech, but I wouldn't necessarily say they are, like utilizing CRM as an example is not a tech. I do agree with that.
It's enabler.
It's an enabler.
Yeah.
For us, the biggest thing that we have built at ApplyBoard, and it didn't take us 1 year, 2 years, it actually for fact has taken us 5 years to build. The way that we can take an application in, have a very different criteria, read the document, evaluate the document, make sure the document is a real document based on a reliability check, and then match that to a program, making sure now you're meeting all the requirement and then making sure the students is successful. We're actually now in a position that many of our institutions see that 100% of their students come through ApplyBoard is getting acceptance of that. So 100% of their students that we get to them get acceptance of it. So now we're in the position that the students, as they're uploading their document, they can refresh and download their acceptance of there. It's a very complex thing. It's not to just like read the document.
And there's a life attached to this.
There is a life.
And
like
even one wrong
decision is a wrong, life. Exactly.
It's usually that sourcing country or a destination country.
You got it. So like the entire thing that we have focused is like, how do we take what it's 6 months process to a 6 days process? How we can solve the complex processing, making it some. And I tend to
have you solved from a university side also? Because
we're working on it.
Because this is, if I talk about accommodation side, we have solved lots of things from discovery to application, but there are still few accommodation partners who are not giving us API. And we're like, we prepare API for you. And when I'm talking accommodation partners, you're talking universities, and universities generally they're not so fast paced or so easily convinced.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Our education sector, or I would say EdTech, is where FinTech was 15 years ago.
Totally. Even travel tech.
Travel tech is more advanced.
Advanced, yeah.
Way more advanced.
Yeah. Because I consider ourselves how we can become Booking.com or Make My Trip. We're in end-to-end booking systems, and that's why we are building a global distribution system for student housing. But for that, we need to be around because providers need to have APIs. Even the B2B partners need to be open to have full API integrations.
Yeah. But then the problem with our sector, because not many people understand tech, is the concept of API is not there. Is a lot of like universities, as example, that work in a legacy of 50, 20, 30 years, 10 years old.
Businesses.
So there is a lot of that.
Right. Tell me more about tech, because that is something I'm very keen about. I did my AI leadership for my ISB. Since then, I've been, we have a small AI lab at University, and that's where we keep building AI tools and all. But then I heard from people, especially when we are integrating each other, that, ApplyBoard is more tech than B2B partnership and then B2B and on the ground team, But from the industry, it seems there's a notion or a belief that ApplyBoard is all about B2B partnership, it's all about paying commissions, having large team on the ground. But in reality, such a huge company, such a huge office, and there's hardly people, and you're doing numbers like, you're scaling one of the biggest. So tell me more about, what processes, which you're open to share, Any process which you have like disrupted, like left hand side?
Yeah, I think we're the only company in the planet Earth today that can read the document, evaluate the document, cross-check that to university's requirement, make sure that matches, and check for irregularity. I do not know any single other company that does that. Not a single other person that have it started or before or after ApplyBoard do that.
So if university integrate with your APIs, you were saying that the way we can book air tickets, people can get their acceptance.
By 3 years, 2 to 3 years, our forecast that any students that go to ApplyBoard, you will download your acceptance letter within the same day.
Wow. And this is what we are trying to solve. That when we started, applying to accommodation, first the concept accommodation that, I mean, we go there, when we book it, once we are there, it's so ancient. And this is where we need all of your help. This is why I'm shouting the roof that as much as admission is important, housing is second largest item. It's 60% of your time is spent in housing, where you stay, with whom you stay. So as much as you learn in the class, you learn more. That's where you find your soulmates or roommates or your co-founders. So start accommodation early and look beyond university hall, right? And for that, adoption is happening. But similarly, we need to solve the tech from end to end, wherein like we book air tickets, accommodation book end to end within 2 minutes. 25% we have solved it. We are lots of organized partners.
I think like for us is like we just want to remove application processing as a whole.
Yeah.
For 95% of the students.
But do you think if that happens, lots of non-tech traditional people will go out of business? Will you do what Q-commerce or e-commerce is doing to kirana stores and superstores? Because lots of people been feeding you, and one of your reason to scale and success because you have enabled them. But do you think that will be counted?
I think we're still going to remain enabled, and we're not solving the problem that they don't have. Who doesn't want when the students walk to your office and say, hey, sit here, finish your coffee, I give you acceptance. So that would that not increase their business? It does.
Right.
The intention is always to making a complex problem solve the complex problem is what we're trying to do. We're not trying to make incremental improvement. We're trying to just say, what's good look like? If Airbnb, the day that they started it and they said, let's just go make sure anyone that puts their house on Crystex can put their house on a platform. No, they said the couch surfing existed. People was used to go to each other. Can we get someone to put their spare room on a platform and rent it out? You know, how did they start? They used to, Brian, the co-founder of Airbnb, used to go take a photo from the places, put it himself that. Where the tech? The concept was, how do we enable every single person to put their spare room in that platform at much cheaper and most cost efficiency than that.
Right.
And then that became so simple that now it's arguably as easy to go to Airbnb, book your cheaper, better. And then that resulted a lot of hotel chain. The hotel had to now start putting the best platform. Now you have to have it like a very simple 2 steps booking on a hotel, right? Like you don't need to do a lot. It's the same concept. Like I'm not imagining not making it something easier. In the next 5 years, I'm reimagining, can we just remove application process as a whole?
You're saying you will connect the student directly with the university?
No. Can we get what it takes 6 weeks to be 60 seconds?
Right. Pre-verification, attachment, everything.
It's just that process that we're going to solve. We're not solving who, what. That is a sector. I don't know 10 years from now what a student's mobility look like, but I do know there is a student, I know there is an institution. Who sits between, for us, is that connection to be solved. And then if you're doing accommodation, do a connection to ApplyBoard. Someone else does loan, do a connect. We're going to be that one-stop platform to solve it, because at the end, if we bring all these pieces together and making it so much simpler, now the student that didn't know have an option in Korea has an option in Korea. The student that didn't know from China has an option to come to Malaysia has an option. The goal is to making it super transparent, easy to understand, that you have that option to go wherever you want.
So you talk about tech, and this business trust is very important. So tech, I guess you are saying you have resolved it. How important is trust, and can through tech we can build trust, or because this is a very traditional
Well, yeah,
industry?
but at the end of the day, to me, it's like if you're referring as a student's trust, why should you not trust a platform that you can apply for free?
Right, right. But again, we were always B2C. Now we are B2C, B2B, B2I. B2B, in last 5 years, we got around 2,000 education partners onboarded. What I realized is they are onboarded, but there's still that apprehensions of, oh, we will not share application till time we don't get visa. I'm like, that's the whole purpose. Why you are making a student wait till visa? Because then the prices will go up, there will be less options, and eventually student will not get the accommodation, and then they go there, they find it expensive, or they have a bad experience, and then they come back and say, studying in UK or studying in Canada is expensive. It's not like all what happened in Canada, right? Now housing become a scapegoat. It wasn't. There's no housing crisis. There was housing issue. But if we make student aware that okay, start early, look beyond University Hall, just don't go there and don't book it and land there. Then there's a problem, right? So in my case, people trust university living, but people still don't trust the ecosystem. That if we send a student to them early,
No, I think that you're looking at it differently than I do. There is a curve of adoption in everything. Usually 1 or 2% call early adopter. They're okay to try everything. Then there is another 10 to 20% that they are not the earliest adopter, but they accept, adopt, go. Then you have a big chunk of it, which is follower. And then you have another chunk of it, another 10 to 20% that never adopt. You're looking at how do I get the 75% right now? I don't look at it. I look at it that you're gonna come with the first 2%, then you focus on the next 20%. Now this become a new normal. You think like people wanted to put their houses on Airbnb? No.
of course, right? Good point.
You just had to have that early adopter. So you might say that, that early adoption phase, we just launched a brand and a company a couple of weeks back called Capio. I'm working on the early adopter. Even though I have 10 years of experience on this, but that is a different suite of business and you require early adopter. Who are the early adopter? The people that can see the future the way that you do, and the people that have the patience for you to make mistakes. So they are not perfectionists. They want to build something with you. But then there are people that says, no, I want a bug-free, best tech, and don't talk to me until it's not ready. I don't go after those people. I keep them warm until I go after the other people.
Very, very, very insightful. Very, very insightful. So we just recently collaborated with ApplyBoard. I would like to know what's your view on accommodation, because you've been an international student.
I wouldn't answer that question because I think my view is a student comes to ApplyBoard platform or our partner comes to ApplyBoard platform need to be able to help the students at any part of their journey. Accommodation is one.
Right. But let's not talk from ApplyBoard. I'm talking from an international student who went from Iran to Canada. Of course, you have a family there, so it was a bit easier, But then you have lots of friends, and you have done so many students. You have seen like people struggling and not struggling. Not everyone struggles. I always say that. Don't book through university living, but start early and book your accommodation before reaching there. That's the bigger problem statement I want to convey, and I've been working on. As an international student, how you see like any best practices or tips you want to?
It's accommodation, of course, is a stressful part of the journey. Like I think the study abroad as a whole is a stressful. So if you can solve a problem that exists and make it less stressful and much simpler, it is a problem. So finding a room or a house, it is a problem. So kudos to you guys that are trying to solve that problem. It's not a simple problem because you need to have the host, you need to have the guest, you need to match them and make sure everything goes as well. It's not a simple issue that can be solved like this.
Right.
It is a significant issue and it's a global issue. And I do agree, it's not a crisis. It is an issue. How do you bring visibility? For example, if you go to apply to a website called Kijiji, it's a website that any company can be able to use Kijiji to find accommodation. So anyone that can anyone that can support the part of that journey and making it much easier is that, like, you know, and I know a lot of the students going abroad, they can't afford maybe like a $2,000 house, but they can found a house that has 3-4 bedroom and then save
share
that.
it and together.
So I think like there is a significant challenge, and I'm glad you guys are solving it. And again, our intention at ApplyBoard is not solve every problem.
Yeah.
There is companies like yours that has solved that, or it's in the process of solving.
Yeah.
We work with you because what we're trying to solve is a different problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we want to make sure now that we get the students do their test, do their loan, do their accommodation, and so on, have the fastest. Can we get to a place, end of this decade, the student come to ApplyBoard, until they get to their school, be the fastest, most convenient, and the most best experience? That's what we're trying to solve.
So you guys B2B, you never thought of B2C, B2B? There are fewer groups who have, physical offices, meeting directly students. What's your view on that? Because you seem to obsess with student first, student experience.
You can still achieve the student experience and the students through that. To us, we're serving as students, we're serving institution. Our partners are channel marketer. The way that I look at our partners, it's like you may go spend money on Facebook advertisement. Facebook is your B2B. I look at those partners as the same. They're the people that have access to the students and they're supporting the students, and that's where we're trying to get.
You've been managing, 600 people team all across? Or more than
About
that?
1,000.
Yeah, about 1,000, What's your mantra for motivation to keep your team motivated, happy, make them grow?
I think that has changed over time. I'm learning. I tend to say I'm going to be a student until I'm 60 years old, and I have 28 more years to learn. So every day I learn from the people that they're around me, and I have had an opportunity to work with some of very smart, hard work, and incredible people, and I'm still working with that. So I've learned a lot from that standpoint. I think the biggest thing for us is staying true to who we are, is staying true to our mission and support employees where we can. That has been our focus, and providing the best opportunity. Have we done wrong? Have we made mistakes? Have we learned from it? Absolutely. But that's a part of
journey. That's a part of
the journey, right? Like it is the part of it. I think I'm a better person than I was last year, and as long as I feel that I'm progressing, that's it is. And I know that 10 years from now, I'm gonna look back and say, "Oh, like you were a very different person," and I hope that I say you're a better person 10 years from now than today. So I think leadership is all about that. And yeah, I think I'm very much like what you see is what you get. I cannot fake it. I wake up in morning for one reason, is to see how I can solve this problem. And I love to see when people life change. And it may be like more than solving this problem. I just want to impact lives in a good way, whether that's ApplyBoardian employees or ApplyBoardian teams that here or not here, or whether that is students or our partners. You know that in our events that we had this week, 3 of the partners attended events were ApplyBoard employees. They came to ApplyBoard, 2 or 3 years worked, then they started their company.
Nice.
So now I have entrepreneurs out of ApplyBoard. That's phenomenal. It makes me incredibly pleased and proud, right? Like
totally.
Maybe it's small, we're small fish in the entire pond. But I think that's what it is.
Making impact.
Yeah, as long as it's impact, and doesn't matter. In my life, it's not about how many life I make impact, as long as I wake up and I know that I have made a positive intent and impact in people's life, that feeds my soul.
Anything you regret in last 10 years of building?
Many things.
I mean, I don't know if you want to highlight, but anything which you want to highlight?
Many things. I wouldn't necessarily, every day that I do make a decision, at the end of the day, you learn from it. And I have made stupid decision that I would say, why did I make it? But I made it with the inputs that I had.
That point in time, yeah.
At that given point in time. I don't think intentionally I have ever made a decision that I said, let's make a stupid decision. I made it, and I was get to know after I had more context to it that I made a bad decision, and that's part of the life. I'm actually very hard on myself.
What is your date of birth?
My date of birth, I'm in March.
You're Pisces.
Aries.
Aries. Right.
Aries.
My wife is Aries, so I understand. Always overthinking.
So I don't believe in much of that based on.
But zodiac signs have it's science, and there is. I also not into superstition, but I believe every zodiac sign got some characters.
Yeah, I don't get to
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, it's
detail,
okay.
but like to me, it's like I'm hard on myself. I want to improve. I want to be a better person at the end of the day. I just want to progress in life.
Tell me more about yourself. Like, I want to know, audience want to know Meti. I mean, I have met you a few times. So, as you say, you get what you see. Totally agree. We have not spent enough time, probably a couple of drinks, but you always on the face and you are like, no nonsense. You are like, you respect, that's very important. And I'm also meeting like 2, 3 times only. But I would like to know more about you as a person, like real you.
Is what you see. I don't know.
I can
It's
see you. Okay, I'll ask. Are you a mountain or a sea person?
depend on the mood. Both.
Okay. For you, is it family or friends?
Family.
Family. Yeah.
Hardcore.
Hardcore family. Is it like are you seeing someone? Are you in a relationship? Are you
Yeah, I have a beautiful partner. She's phenomenal.
right? So where I'm coming from, as a founder, at time I feel that if I would have been alone, I would have been like even running faster. But at the same, I also know I need to go home. I need to have someone who I can talk to. And for me, going far is more important than going fast. What's your take on that?
Going far is more important than going fast. It depends on people. I don't want to go far or fast alone. For me, it's
Totally.
not. Destination matters, but it's not obsession.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. Like you wake up, hopefully God bless me with many more years. I don't know about today. I don't know after we leave here what's my destiny.
Right.
I'm not gonna do something stupid. But I don't know the destiny that it's the fate that has been written for me. But I want to wake up happy in life and I want to wake up feeling impacting other people. And my beautiful, wonderful partner, she's amazing and makes me feel better about many things. And I love her the most in this world.
How did you meet her?
It's like through conferences and stuff like that. And I get to know her and she's wonderful. And I feel calmer. I feel stress-free when I'm with her. Her presence in my life makes me feel better. So she's the right person to me and I want to be with her for the rest of my life. So I think that to me it's not as much as like alone or not. I've been single, didn't much change this speed. I'm now in relationship for a few years, hasn't changed this speed. At the end of the day, I think like a lot of people, you need to know what's important for you. I don't wake up to be rich. I don't wake up to be alone. I don't wake up to this. I want to make sure that I leave an impact in people's life. I don't care about 50 years from now someone remembers my name or not. That's not what matters to me. But I want 50 years from now, hopefully millions of the students to say, I chose going X place and that made me a better person. I don't need them to know who ApplyBoard was or who Meti Basiri was. That's not what I'm after.
What impact you bring to their life matters.
Yeah.
And this is why I like and love my team. So my next question was, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? Not just at ApplyBoard, but in the global education system. You already answered.
Yeah,
you want to build it up, you can build it up.
No, I think that I leave it with that. I really hope that 50 years from now, 20 years from now, any student has the access to the quality that I had, whether it is in your hometown or not. I think education is really changed people's life, changed mine, changed many other people. And I want to make sure every single human being in this world has the same quality of education that I have had in their life.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
On that note, we have a last rapid fire line, and which is one thing ApplyBoard will never automate.
Studying the classes. I love studying in classes.
With AI, do you think that it will be getting automated or getting impacted? Because now people are not taking notes. People are recording.
Experience is everything about education, and I think people want to have that experience.
First big pinch me ApplyBoard moment.
When I first saw the first student show up and I pick her up at the airport.
Not your 400, 500 million of funding?
No.
How was your fundraising?
How much we did fund? Oh, just short of $500 million.
And do you think fundraising helped you build things faster and bigger?
100%.
You're not a big fan of bootstrap and, you know?
It depends on the company.
Your biggest strength as a leader, instinct or strategy?
Strategy.
Instinct equal? That's a tough one. Even I am not able to guess it.
I would say I'm a more of idea maker. Love to brainstorm. Think like 30,000 feet.
I connect with like anything.
Yeah.
I'm always buzzing with ideas and bugging my co-founder and my team. This can happen. This can happen. This can happen. Can't agree. Can't agree more. If you weren't building ApplyBoard, what would you be doing today?
If I start ApplyBoard today, you mean?
If you have not started or you're not building your ApplyBoard, what you would be doing?
I'll do something in healthcare, or I'll try to solve homeless issue in the world.
And your point, if you would start ApplyBoard now, will it be different from the way you've been doing? Anything different you will do?
No, I don't regret of starting when I started. I think that's part of life.
Last app you scroll before sleeping.
Last what?
Last app you scroll before sleeping.
Gmail. Your mail.
Okay, Gmail. Okay. I'm good.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Meti.
it.
Thank you
Thanks,
for your-
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.